Talking through today's 8-gamer. We got a little bit of news. There's still news we're waiting on. Sheets was sort of referring to that beforehand. So I guess before we get all into it and say what's up to everybody, why don't you ask the questions you were trying to figure out?
So first of all, how do you project, or how do you even think about Terry Rozier today?
I never thought about him for a second.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a big piece of news. Okay.
Oh, I just don't think it affects anything at all. I mean, with him in, well,
that was easy.
Do you want to play him? Is that what you were talking about?
I don't know.
Oh, I just couldn't understand. It's like his usage will be probably half of what it was all season, and even if he gets there, that's not even. I didn't even think that was relevant. But
okay, another guy who was showing up. Just like really quickly, was Monte Morris at 3K. Did you look at him?
He's coming back from an injury that was really serious, and he's been out for over a year. So I'm not messing with anything to do with Monte Morris. I'm actually surprised that these guys are projecting
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, but that's what's weird is that I don't show them as projecting anything at all, basically.
Projecting 5x at 3K. I don't know. I figured I'd bring it up.
Yeah, if you're going to play somebody, play Jacob Gilliard and hope what's his name is out, Kennard.
Yeah, so Memphis starters we'd like to know that, right?
Yeah. Well, Kennard being healthy is a big one. What happens with him? I'd be shocked if Tillman doesn't start, but it's possible, I guess. Either way, I'm Gregory Jackson anyway.
I mean, right now, just running lineups without even doing anything else, I would go 90% Monte Morris. So I have to figure out what's going on here.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I understand the thinking and of why he has been gone for a while, and he's actually a quality player, but I can't play a guy with. They said his minutes will be monitored. He's probably going to play 18 minutes at the most, would be my guess. But there's a chance that they maybe let him get a few more, I guess.
All right, so we could talk about the good plays then. So they're saying
I would also want to know if he's starting for one thing beforehand.
Right.
He's only really in play, in my opinion, if he was starting, because Killian Hayes and Ivy, we've seen this before. Sorry, go ahead. Organization.
So I was just going to say that if so we could talk about the reasonable plays then. So
I just want to touch on the Mike Conley thing because Mike Conley's out. So Nickeil Alexander-Walker is just projecting okay because there's not that much value on the slate. It's natural to want to play him. I actually like Naz Reid as a tournament play. I think it's a really, really interesting play. Little pivot off of Okongwu. Unfortunately, Okongwu's game is later, so maybe you play them together. But I think Naz Reid at 4,900 is definitely interesting. We've seen, obviously there's a range of outcomes. Cat could score 62 again, and he gets 14 minutes. But right before that, he's scoring 30, basically. Without Conley, there's definitely a chance for him to get a little bit of a bump. And he did. He got a 5-point fantasy bump, I think, from that. So that was I just want to touch on those guys. I guess you could argue for Edwards and anybody else there, but I just am personally just going to play one or both of Reed and Alexander Walker. I also think that Kyle Anderson's in play as another potential value.
So did they update? I mean, so you're saying that Nickeil Alexander-Walker is not projecting that great?
I think it's still going to get played because he had 24 fantasy points. He was terrible. Again, it was a terrible usage thing. I just kept mentioning it the other night because when he was, what did he end up on? 80%, 86%?
I think there was no Edwards though, right?
Was that?
Wasn't there no Edwards too, or?
No.
Oh, he was.
It was just Mike Conley. And he got there, but he made 4 out of 6 threes and he still had 24 fantasy points. He was cheaper, but I wouldn't be playing him on FanDuel, I don't think. Maybe you could do it as a contrarian thing, but 4,900 over there. 4,200 is getting to the point where it's not just an auto play or anything like that. And would you split up Van Vliet and Şengün without a run back? Yeah, that's a good question, MJ. And yes, I would. And I'm probably lower on those guys than everybody else is. I really think that I think Miami's going to kill Memphis, and I think that Houston's going to kill Portland. I really just have that. That's strongly what I believe. Obviously, I can be wrong. I was wrong yesterday about Portland OKC, but I am going to with that belief.
Well, that one was unfortunately a sheet special because they lost them by 62 the last time they played.
Yeah. We also have Kyrie didn't go through shoot around just now.
Ooh.
I actually was feeling like with the point spread, like it is interesting because Phoenix is favored by 2 on the road where they've been really bad, but they've won 6 in a row overall. So like maybe they could be favored over Dallas, but it still feels like Dallas would be favored in this game where it would at least be like even odds. And it's kind of weird to see Dallas as a 2-point underdog, and the fact that Kyrie didn't go through warm-up, I'm just taking it to mean there's a reasonable chance he doesn't play. And even if he does, I still think Luka is just an insanely great tournament play. I mentioned this earlier. It's just, I just think you just try to play him whenever you can. If you have to bend a few things to do it, try to do it, especially if Kyrie may not play. But even still, it's just a good matchup too. They're going to need every bit of it. He's probably going to put up 70 or so. It just feels like we're giving up on points by not trying to get those guys in. The only problem is that means you have to forgo the plays we liked earlier, which I do like, which are Mitchell and Lonzo, LaMelo, excuse me. Both those guys I think are totally interesting tournament plays, and you could pair them together. I was actually going through whether I wanted to play Luka with with Miles Bridges or play Luka with who did I have? Luka with Miles Bridges or both Ball and Mitchell.
What do you like from the Hawks in order? I guess it doesn't work that way.
DeJounte Murray he'll be in all my lineups tonight. As of right now, anyway. Bogdanovich, I guess if you're not going to play Murray, and if you are playing him, I still think he's fine. Okongwu and Sadiq Bey, then Johnson and Capella. But I'm not probably going to get to Bey, Johnson, and Capella unless I want to backload and hope we get some people out.
Yeah.
But with even still, it looks like what's his name is a go.
Who?
It looks like Exum's more likely to play than not.
Oh, okay.
So, but you're not playing Exum anyway, coming off an injury. But it doesn't necessarily fill the void where you have to play somebody in addition to Luka. Hardaway Jr. is already it's okay to play Hardaway Jr. I would say that if Kyrie's out, I think it's okay to play Derek Lively anyway, but I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot of love for the rest of them. Josh Green, I guess, starts again maybe instead of Kyrie, but that's not like you need to do it. It's just something.
Monte Morris pared back a little bit.
Yeah, I think that it was just early in the day too. They had him with like a 20 fantasy point projected. I was like, what is going on? It was like, I don't know. I really monitored today. Yeah, he's down. Saberson has him at 11%.
Yeah, I see that. I just updated that. But if he does start, I mean,
but would they really do that? And maybe.
Well, it doesn't matter. I mean, we'll probably know that, right? I mean,
yeah, we'll know it. I guess the problem is with them is they sometimes don't wait like 10 minutes before,
or
5 minutes before. Like they're not great about it. I still like the other things. Like I do think that I know it sounds like a weird play, but like in that weird cheapish middle low tier, whatever. I think Saric is totally reasonable here.
Wow, that's interesting.
He's put up, look at his game log. Like just they're playing him more and more. And he put up 32, 23, 28, 13, 34, 29, 27. This is a good matchup in general. They're tough to beat up inside, but that's okay because you're hoping he shoots threes and like gets enough rebounds on the other side. Like, I don't know. I think that it's just again, more exposure to late stuff if you wanted to build that way. And that's really the question of how you want to build. And I'm sort of struggling with it myself. Like, because I think that the first thing I thought today was the same thing I think now, which is that I think everybody on Charlotte, and I can't even say they're being under projected, but I think that they're being a little under-owned for the fact that their second highest usage guy and their already first highest usage guy was gone. Like, I feel like if Rozier just sat randomly, I just feel like Brandon Miller would look better. I think Nick Smith is like an incredible large field tournament play. I just can't get to him in the 2,500, but like, keep an eye out who starts, because they may just, this kid is a first round pick from this year. Like, they may just come out there and start him at 4,100 instead of Caleb Martin.
Which guy?
Cody Martin, Nick Smith.
Oh, yeah.
These are the things we have to watch going forward, because they're obviously giving up on the year. They're trading their guys. They let your young guys play a little, which also reduces, even though I am probably going to play Cody Martin, it reduces a little bit of the wanting to play him, because I feel like they're giving up on.
What are you doing? Wait, I got to take this one.
Sorry. So, all right, interesting. Hawks game isn't on FanDuel. Yeah, they just did. The FanDuel did the thing that they've been doing, but because it was such the big buy-in, like you know, they put both the games on DraftKings tonight, because there were, you know, good late night games with Wemby and Chet, and then the Golden State.
Wait, what were you saying about Wemby and Chet? That was the next thing I was going to ask you.
Yeah, I think Wemby's a really good play. Just depends on how you're building. What you can afford, because he should be really popular tonight. I think he will be. I think that the main guys that'll get played late will be he, DeJounte, Bogdanovich, mostly those guys. There's a temptation to play Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm just going to repeat the same thing I always repeat about him. Like, it's just hard when you're that closely priced to Luka. Like, there should be at least a 2,000 gap between them, and there isn't. So that's why I pick Luka over Shai. But it doesn't mean that Shai is not in a great spot, and the back-to-back might actually keep the game closer. So I'm all in. I'm all on board with it. I just don't personally have it myself.
What's the status on Jabari Smith? Is that like a?
I didn't even know there was a status.
I see a questionable tag.
I thought it was a probable, but I guess it is.
Okay.
Well, no, let me see. That might have been. That's really weird.
Well, you can be right. I'm just
saying.
Yeah,
no, he's technically questionable.
Yeah.
That you know, then Kim Whitmore. Yeah, Kim Whitmore. Maybe Amen Thompson. They're sort of fading away from the Deshaun Tate thing. And remember, Tari Eason's already gone, so
right.
All these guys already have that boost. That's a pretty big piece of news. I don't know how I didn't have that, and then it just maybe it's not new though, is it? No, that's weird. Huh? It's strange. Despite not appearing in this. Oh yeah, he's not. Yeah, he wasn't on the injury report this morning, but now he is.
Yeah. I
think it's Whitmore. And I actually think that's worth enough to speculate on. Whitmore played 27 minutes the last game that Jabari did play, just to throw it out there.
Let me take a look. He's questionable. He was not appearing on the injury report. He's due with left ankle sprain. Amen Thompson, Cam Whitmore. Says increased playing time.
I keep ending up 300 off of my freaking perfect build. Let's do that.
So Cody Martin is available. Just catching up on all this other stuff. Luke Kennard, questionable, but he's a late addition.
Yeah, he's a real questionable. He's got a hip thing, and he's playing point guard, so it's a little different.
Trey Jones was not at shoot-arounds for San Antonio.
Yeah, that one is one that's hard to really put any stock into, because it's like, so we just have the same, like, what play, I don't know, like Branham, I guess now that he's 3K if he starts, but like he was like playing, 30 minutes early in the season and putting up like 10 fantasy points consistently. Well, before Trey Jones, ended up starting. I honestly think that's weird. That's a weird one. I do think that's the Wembanyama versus like that's the if you have Şengün and Murray at 80, 83, and 8,400 getting all the ownership. How popular can all three of them be? Is that going to be just the build? Everybody just plays the three of those guys?
Who, Şengün, Murray, and Wembanyama?
Yeah. Because they're all of the same price, basically. And yeah, I don't know.
So is nobody going to play Miles Bridges?
No, I think he's definitely, it's the projections changed on him too a little bit. That's what I mean. Like his projection maybe should be a little bit higher. Like I actually think he's a guy that's better to play with Ball than he is to play with what's his name? With Rozier, which is what he was doing lately. And we haven't seen it as much with just Ball and no Rozier. But yeah, I like the Bridges play, but again, it's an earlier game. I mean, for what it's worth, Jabari Smith missed the last game. Like, there is absolutely no guarantee that he's playing this game. I'm actually talking myself into this like more and more because I did not see that pop up on the injury report. Like, it must have happened just right before we came on. Because I had it at 5:30 Eastern was the last time I looked. Oh man.
Well, let's do that thing where we see what games start when, so what we have to worry about. Charlotte with Detroit. Okay, right off the bat, that's one we might probably want to look at because of Cody Martin, and maybe others.
All of Detroit too, without Cunningham. I mean, and they were all good plays. If Cunningham wasn't there, I don't know why they'd be bad plays now. You know,
Nickeil Alexander-Walker is a decision that's got to be made before 7. I'm probably going to play him. Memphis, Miami, not till 7:30, and that requires some stuff. You know, if Luke Kennard is out, you know, make sure that Xavier Tillman's starting. If you want to play him.
Did you mention the Minnesota stuff?
Yeah, I said Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
I think I think Naz Reid is the better play, but yes.
Oh, really?
Well, we're just gonna like. I'm just going to remind everybody what this Nickeil Alexander-Walker play is. Like, this is not because he happened to hit 4 threes in the first quarter and he got there so fast and had like 0 fantasy points for 20 minutes. Everybody just sort of forgets. And we have seen this with him before. Like, he put up one crazy monster game, and other than that, like, he never reaches 20.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just throwing it out there. It is a good matchup and all that. And I'm currently he's in my main lineup right now too, but I don't. It's because I like Key Martin and Whitmore. Actually, I have all 3 and Jackson. I have all 4 of those guys in my big buy-in right now. Forwards below 5,900 besides Bay is a question. Bogdanovich, I think he's being a little. I thought he was a little overprojected. Bojan, not Bogdan.
Yeah.
Jabari, assuming Jabari plays, would be my favorite. At 5,900. If Trey Jones is out and somehow Keldon Johnson starts, maybe Keldon Johnson, but those would be the guys I'd consider. Yes, Sheets is going to do a live show. I plan to be there probably too. I'll probably be a few minutes late, but I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do. People are asking me to do this, to try to use the live contests and stuff to see if we can rank people by like risk by ROI and stuff like that. It's a good time. Also, because there's still like an hour to go on the slate and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try to figure out how to do that kind of on the fly.
Yeah.
Boy, this is a weird ownership projection I'm getting from another site. Is it possible that like Victor Wembanyama is gonna be 40% owned? No, right?
That was my initial thinking, was that he would be today. I mean, I told you that this morning. I said I think he's going to end up as the most popular spend up on the slate, not other than Murray.
And he'll think he'd be more popular than Şengün?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah,
I think so. Would you? Here's a trivia one for you. Who do you think averages more fantasy points, he or Şengün?
Who are Şengün?
Wemby.
Good question. Well, average is a tough word.
Yeah, but it averages out.
Yeah, I guess it could be Wembanyama because he's got all his 70s. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, so does the other one. Yeah, he does, but it's close. It's like by like a point.
Okay.
So I think both of those two. So like that's what I was saying. Is everybody just going to end up with Murray, Wembanyama, and Şengün? Because it pretty much narrows the rest of your build down. It makes it very, very like you're going to have a very similar thing. That's why I'm not quite buying the Şengün. I think Şengün ends up like around 20%. I think Wembanyama ends up around 30%. I think Murray ends up around 50% in the high buy-ins. If Murray really continues to be 25%, I just think this is like ridiculous, and I'm not buying it. Yeah, that's what I said, Jimmy. No, the FanDuel didn't play those games. All right, so Jalen Duren is the one that I don't understand entirely, other than it's a great matchup. But his projection, I feel like, went up today, like consistently. Like it kept going up by like a point every time I looked. It was like 34, now it's like 40. That's another one of the early plays that's interesting. Although I have to say, SaberSim seems to have him projected better than everybody else does.
You have any starters yet for anything? Probably not, right?
Not yet. No, I'm going to get out of here in 9 minutes and finish mostly my main build. Oh, here we go. No, we do have the starters for Charlotte. It's LaMelo, Brandon Miller, Cody Martin, Miles Bridges, Nick Richards. So exactly what you'd expect.
Okay.
Sadly, my guy Nick Smith didn't make it in there. Still think he's an awesome tournament play, guys. You want to get weird with it right off the bat, Nick Smith.
That is getting different.
Is Kuminga a good play? I have zero Kuminga. It's anybody's guess, including Kuminga's, on what's going to happen with him on a night-to-night basis, including that whole and also with that whole team. They just can't. They're playing horrible basketball. I personally am fine with Kuminga anytime in a good matchup like this, but I don't think you should. I think you should have a little bit of expectations that Draymond's going to start getting more minutes back, and Kuminga might get lessened a little bit. I mean, Draymond only played 23 in his first game back. I think those numbers will start to go up by a few minutes. I think it's going to cut it enough into Kuminga. But I mean, I do think, I think he's actually, you know what? As a tournament play, absolutely, because he's also in the later game. You can always pivot if you need to. You're already going to have some guys in that later game. So I'm okay with the Kuminga idea for sure. Looking at what else here. Wow, I really wanted to find a run back so I could get 4 guys in that Atlanta Golden State game and then see if anything emerges in this Dallas.
What about the Saric?
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is do I want to do that with the other value that's opened up? Well, maybe I do, because I am absolutely on there's so many ways for this to fail for Nickeil Alexander-Walker, but I also think that it's I think it's a good enough play where I'm okay with it, because I think the minutes against Washington are okay enough. I think Charlotte, I think the same thing for Cody Martin. That just the minutes versus Detroit are usually good enough, but it doesn't feel great that these guys are like the staples of your lineup, and you really are just playing them for the minutes, not the fact that they're productive in those minutes. For what it's worth, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is also being projected for 32 minutes and 22 fantasy points. That's because he's very bad point per minute, but I actually think the 32 might be a little bit high for him.
It's got to be high, right?
That seems high, right?
I mean, I shouldn't say high. I just think there's more downside than upside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he only played 30 in the last game. Why is he going to play more in a potential blowout situation? Like,
maybe he just stinks.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't even think he's bad. I think he's a good basketball player. He actually plays defense. That's the problem. It doesn't really help us fantasy-wise.
Well, but it helps his minutes.
Yeah, that's true. But the problem with those minutes is you're playing Washington, who, basically every other game gets blown out. Is Luka a must if Kyrie is out? I like Luka anyway, so I'm probably going to force Luka in my big.
Yeah, I think that's probably wise. What about again? I'll go back to this again. What does he play Kevin Durant in 40 minutes?
I just don't know like what you're, which one you're really like. Why are we playing these guys over Donovan Mitchell or LaMelo Ball? I guess would be my first thought. And they're also, I don't think they're better than the 8,400 guys. So basically, I'm saying that even if they were like 80, if they were 8,400, I probably would take shots on them. Of course, well then they'd be chalk. I just think there's a range of outcomes, but I have no issue like with it on it, like just the idea of it. But like Luka versus Durant, but like who are you picking and why? Like, is it going to be Durant? Is it going to be Booker? You know what I mean? It's hard to guess. Right. If I had to bet though on any of them tonight in this matchup, to me it would be Booker, not Durant. But I'm not doing that either. So, I'm glad Dallas's game is at home because I am a little worried about them these days, and I'm worried about Phoenix maybe bringing it to them a little bit. Phoenix has been playing much better, but I still think that you got to pretend the team's going to stay close at home. They did just get smoked by Memphis at home, though. I'm serious. If you look at Luka's game logs, it's hilarious because you're like, oh, why did he only have 60? He still played 31 minutes. I'm like, because he usually plays 38. Like, it's a big difference when you don't play that last rotation.
Right.
And that's when you usually do, like, for the superstars, that's when you do, like, literally, like Donovan Mitchell for years. That was, like, 50% of his scoring was in the fourth quarter, or his fantasy scoring. Okay. But boy, I'll tell you what, I really like the Donovan Mitchell, and I think that's such a cool way to build. I built it. I liked it. Sheets. I got it in one of my secondary lineups, but you get LaMelo and Mitchell, and you could even play like, a certain run backs. By the way, not spoken about. If there was like a little bit of extra value, if we heard that Luke Kennard is out and Memphis only has their 9 players, and I get to play Jacob Gilyard, I rebuild my lineups and play Giannis and Luka, because Giannis, look, the firing a coach that you didn't want there, and which is clearly why he was fired, and getting 5% ownership at only 11,000, which again, these guys at 11K are going to surpass their number. You know what I mean? It's just by how much. They're not getting 55 as most of the time here. They're getting somewhere between 65 and like 100.
Right.
If the game is competitive. People have been talking about Jared Allen because Tristan Thompson's gone, which is a really weird thing to say out loud because he was playing minutes for them and he would really help their rebounding before he got suspended. I don't have an issue with the Jared Allen play. I just didn't get there. I don't know how else to say it.
Right.
It's not a bad play, I don't think. It's a lot to spend for a center who's foul prone, but he's been really good. Like, I think he's got to have been good. The whole team has been awesome. Also, you see these games though where he plays great. It's just he did have that 150 a while back against San Antonio, but like everything else is like even usually his really good games are like 40s, high 30s.
Right.
It is the right matchup though to get the 50 or 60 just for what it's worth. Even though it looks bad against Lopez, just the pace alone will allow him to go a little nutty. I also tried to use that same thing. I just couldn't get to the Lillard logic enough. You know what I mean? But it makes sense that like with the new coach and everything and him being the one of these guys probably has a huge game tonight. Obviously it's easier for Giannis usually because he's not relying on things going in. He just has to attack. But Lillard is kind of an interesting tournament play. If I was playing, but like I said, if I was 115 instead of playing the big one, I would have probably had Lillard and Giannis, double at least what the field does. Maybe actually in Lillard's case, I probably would have had 10 times because I would have had at least 10% of them. What are the chances that DeJounte Murray is not in your main lineup?
0. Well, that's not. I mean, I could have to swap off him later, and that's possible. I want to have him, and I probably want to have him and Bogdanovich if you want to know the truth.
Yeah, I know. The problem I kept ending up with Bogdanovich and Okongwu, and it just felt like a lot to ask for. But I don't think it is that.
I don't think it's that much.
It's just trying to figure out how your lineup makes sense with it. I don't know. That's I keep running into builds I can't quite get around. I guess if I use Saric, that's the one way could. Actually makes a lot of sense.
I'm getting some conflicting stuff on Alec Burks. You like him at all? I don't know.
Alec Burks?
Alec Burks? I don't know. I'm seeing a couple of 20% ownership.
Yeah, I think he makes some sense because the no Cade thing. He's totally gets, it's wild. It's depending on how hot he is, but he's been chucking like crazy lately. So I mean, he was 3 of 12 in the last game, but he was 9 for 20, and he had 56 fantasy points the previous game. He's put up, he had 30 real life points in 2 out of the last 4. Yeah, I have no issue at all with the Alec Burks play.
All right, I guess I'm going to get going. I just by the way, I just updated a whole new set of projections as of right now. So now everybody can get ruled out.
There we go.
Fine style.
In fine style. All right. Actually, after all that, I may end up with Jalen Duren in my main lineup because I'm backloading a little bit, and I just kept ending up with 7,100 left to spend at center only, or I guess I could use forward. Yeah, I think I might end up with just the Jalen Duren.
All right. Well, hopefully, well, there'll be something to sweat, whether it's one of us in the 2,500, or we'll be doing the lobbies for everybody else in the 2,500, or maybe the hockey will be going, or maybe we can do a live lineup build for my LOL 4 a.m. lineups. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens.
Maybe Keegan Bradley will stop bogeying every hole too.
No, that's never happened. But no, he's 143rd. He's ahead of like 7 people. That's good news. But okay, I will see you at 11.
All right, sounds good, man. See you later. Good luck, everybody, tonight. I'll be in the Discord. I'm going to finish my builds and hopefully win a ton of money. Good luck.
Sounds good to me.